Well, here we are in beautiful South Florida in a nature preserve called Pine Island Ridge Nature Preserve, and it's a very unique topographical part of Florida. It's actually the highest land in Broward County where Fort Lauderdale is, and it's 29 feet above sea level. Oh, I'm getting dizzy in these high areas. But anyway, just kidding. I like to walk through these nature areas. It's just nice and cool in the mornings up here. So today we're going to talk about what newbies ought to know when they're shopping for catamarans, or subtitle could be things to think about first, because I often have newbies calling me up and you know, they're wanting to go to step 10 or 11 in this process of buying a cat, but they haven't done steps number 1 through 9. So you always want to do things in steps. And so I'm going to give you the top 7 tips for newbies, just to keep in mind, things to think about before you really seriously start shopping for catamarans. And number 1 is qualifying for insurance. Okay? So nowadays, most insurance underwriters want to see 2 to 3 years prior ownership experience of a yacht. Yacht is defined as 32 feet and larger under Florida law. And if you don't have that ownership experience for the insurance people, there are other ways to qualify. One way is to get certified with a sailing school that's accredited by ASA, that's American Sailing Association, or US Sailing or Royal Yachting Association, which is primarily in the UK countries, and you know, like Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and a lot of Caribbean islands have them. So in ASA, which is probably the biggest network of sailing schools, if you do the 4 levels, that's 101, 103, 104, 114, that looks really good on your sailing resume. And now that alone, getting that certification alone isn't always enough to qualify. So in addition to getting certified, it's a good idea to go try before you buy. Go down to an easy place to navigate in, and like the BVI. Oh, look at all this. This is Spanish moss that fell down from an oak tree. Some of these oaks are a couple hundred years old or more. And this is a really unique area for tropical plants and things. I'm just going to look for a spot to hang this moss back up, because they clean the air. And well, here, this looks like a pretty good place. All right, so let's back to our discussion here. And so go charter a boat for a week. You can split it with a couple other couples, and the cost becomes quite reasonable. I can show you how to get charters at half off if you contact me. A lot of people say, oh, I don't want to get training until I buy my boat, and I want to be trained on my boat. Well, you're not going to get insurance most likely. And yes, it's a good idea to get a little bit of instruction on your boat, because every boat has idiosyncrasies, and it's good to have somebody who knows the ropes to show you the ropes. Whoa, there's a lot of water jumping down here. There's a school, well, there's a number of schools that ASA has in their network who do these compressed week-long courses that combine like 4 levels of ASA courses, so that you're certified to the catamaran cruising level. And these week-long courses cost around $4,000 a person, but you live on the boat, you go cruising with an instructor, you're tested almost every day So but it's a fast track, quick way to get it done. Okay, and if you call them up and they say, well, we're booked up for a year, just say, hey, can you put me on a waiting list? And sometimes they have openings. All right, number 2 tip for newbies is marine loans. Okay, now marine loans complicate the buying process by 300%. Lenders force you to pay taxes that you may not have to pay, and I can explain that more in detail if you call me. And lenders are very picky about the location of the yacht. So for example, out of 12 marine lenders left in the US, there's only 2 that will do what we call foreign loans. Okay, and now that means that the yacht is lying outside of US territorial waters. And so there's only 2 sources. Now this is where the deals are. This is where you should get pre-approved. We can get you pre-approved for 6 months and then extend it another 6 months. So it's a good idea to start that process early. Loan requirements are generally 20% down minimum, FICO scores of 720 minimum, and they have a 36% maximum debt to income ratio that they look at. Now, when you talk to lenders, don't tell them you're going to go circumnavigate. They don't like to hear that. Unless you have extensive financial roots in the US, such as you own real estate that you're not going to sell, and you have family you're going to go back and visit, because these lenders always imagine the worst. They imagine, if you say, oh, I'm going to go circumnavigate, they think, oh boy, we're going to loan them some money, they're going to make a few payments, they're going to go disappear up the Amazon River, never to be heard from again, and along with them goes our asset, and we'll never get it back. Yeah, this does happen. So don't tell them you're going to circumnavigate. All right. If you are self-employed, they make it a little more difficult on you. And some people have found that borrowing money against home equity or real estate equity is a good, cheap, quick, easy way to get financing. Another way is to borrow against stock and bond portfolios. I've seen loans at 1 3/4% above prime for that sort of thing, and they're easy to get. And so I recommend looking into that. Credit unions can be good too, but credit unions are usually limited to a loan amount of like $100,000, maybe 150. So you may be limited there. All right. Number 3 thing for newbies to think about and avoid are fake listings, also known as phantom listings or clickbait. So a lot of these second tier or proprietary websites like that companies have are full of fake listings. Okay, so how do we define fakes? Well, these type of listings existed at one time. They were really good deals, so they sold fast, and the listing agents just leave them up there to make the phone ring. And so when you call them, they say something like, oh, it just sold, even though it sold 6 months ago. And the next best thing is this boat over here for more money. So you don't want to be wasting your time with this kind of thing. And just remember that, yachtworld.com and my website, which is powered by Yacht World, called largecatamarantsforsale.com, are policed for fakes. So, if you're an agent who has been caught putting up like 3 or 4 fakes recently, you can be suspended. So, it keeps it relatively clean, although there are fakes there too, especially with these small Caribbean brokers. They love to do that. So just stick with Yacht World. It saves you a lot of time, and 98% of the real listings that are for sale are there anyway, so I wouldn't waste my time elsewhere. Which brings me to tip number 4. If you want to work together with a buyer's agent like me, you shouldn't be talking to a lot of brokers because, see, when you call and you ask, even if a boat's available, they're going to get your name or your phone number, and they're going to put you in their database and then claim you later as their client. Oh, we've been talking to him. Even if you talk to him for 10 seconds, oh, we've been spent a lot of time with him, you know, because they don't want to split commissions. And some of these listing agents they're looking for newbies because they know it's an easy ride for them, if you know what I mean. So the best thing to do is if you do want to, you know, call an agent about the availability of a boat before you and your buyer's agent, who's representing you, dig deeper into it. Just give them a pseudonym. You know, that's usually the best way. All right. Now let's talk about the market that we're in now. We are in a seller's market. This is a very difficult situation for a lot of buyers because boats that are good deals don't last long. Now, we have found some places in the world, I can't give away all my secrets, but my clients find out about these, where there are still good deals, where you can find boats at, you know, 20% under market or so. And so if you know where to shop and when, you can find these deals. So, you know, if you're a client of ours, we will make sure you know about that. But just remember, in a seller's market, you don't want to hesitate a lot. You want to get a first option as fast as you can, because, you know, if you fiddle around and ask 100 questions, you know, by the time you get the answers to all of them, that boat's probably long gone. So don't fool around. Use first option strategies that I've talked about in other videos, okay? I would also tone down my demands in this market, because sellers, if you counter them and try and change things a lot, like, you know, in real estate, you can beat up on sellers in a buyer's market quite a bit. But you can't get away with that right now in the yacht markets. They'll just say, get lost, goodbye, you know, and then your last offer, they just, you know, reject it and go on and find somebody else. So, right now we actually have backup offers for backup offers for backup offers on the good deals. Okay, number 6, don't buy in Europe. Okay, for your first boat. Now that can be your second boat, but buying in Europe is very dangerous financially. You know, they do business differently over there. It's very frustrating. There's a lot of red tape, taxes, bureaucracy to deal with. And, you know, I've heard that in like difficult countries like Greece and Italy, mostly Greece, closings can take 6 months because of all the red tape and the crazy requirements that the governments have to deflag the vessels. So now we know how to cut through that and speed that up, but still there's going to be frustration, and you just have to be ready for that. And it's real, and the expenses to get things done are much higher over there. So that can be for your second boat, and there can be some great deals there, but it's very frustrating. Okay, next. Don't get tempted to buy an old boat, okay? Because cats are double trouble. That is, they have twice as many components with limited lifetime. So, you know, engines, sail drives, sails, rigging, all that kind of stuff wears out. And catamarans have double that kind of stuff. So, you know, they're doubly expensive to refit. And, you know, all cats need refits after every 5 years. Now the first one, like on a, you know, $400,000 boat, could easily be 10% of that. And in year 10, the second refit could be double or triple that easily. So just remember that. And, you know, old boats, the problem with them is when you're a newbie, they're unreliable. Like, you can have an engine conk out at the worst possible time or lose a mast. or rip the sails up, or whatever. And then it becomes unsafe for you and your family, and you don't want to put them in that position. So it's better to go, if the budget's limited, better to go with a newer but smaller catamaran, and you'll be a lot happier. It'll still have a lot of life left. But as it approaches that age of 10 and everything starts falling apart, the boat's talking to you. It's sell me. Because you might think, oh, well, I'll buy a 10-year-old boat and I'll just put the money into it and make it perfect the way I want it. But the problem with that is that the market doesn't appreciate those refits. Okay, so let's say you dump 120 grand in a 45-foot cat, and let's say you have you want to resell it like 2-3 years later. You're never going to get that 120 back. You might get 10 cents on the dollar, 20 cents on the dollar, but that's about it. So the market doesn't appreciate your sweat equity, and they won't pay for it, and so you're just dumping money down a money pit when you do stuff like that. All right, so those are my 7 tips. If you contact me through my website, largecatamaransporsale.com, I'll send you my report, Insider Secrets to Buying Catamarans. Been working on it for 32 years, so I got a few tips in there. And if you like, I can put you on our mailing list. Every month I send the list of all the sales of cats 38 feet and larger in the world, with prices, initial asking price, actual selling price, location, model year, make, model, and we actually have full details on every one of them, full photos and descriptions. And sometimes we'll have comments as to why this boat sold so low or maybe so high, and we can kind of figure out, well, why did this deviate so far from the median prices? So it's a good tool to have, and I pay a lot of money for this private database. It gives us these selling prices. So if you work with me or one of my brokers, one thing to know is that we hold your hand the whole way. At each stage of the process, we send you checklists by email. I call them the next steps checklists, that will have a list of things to think about and or do. We'll, like when the time comes to shop for insurance, we'll give you the top 10 lowest priced but A-rated insurers, and we'll give you phone numbers, contact names. We'll tell you what to say, what not to say. And we just make it much more enjoyable and easy on you. So just send me an email through the website, largecatamaransporsale.com, and I'll send you that report. I'll get you on the list for selling prices, and see if we can work together. All right, so smooth sailing, and if you're ever here in South Florida, you want to come walk in this incredible jungle that we have here, that's been inhabited, they say, 5,000 years. The Tequesta Indians were here. And check out this big cactus right over here. And there's some other really unique plants around here. There was one of these staghorn orchid plants that I've never seen one bigger than like 4 feet. Well, this thing's like 8 feet long. It was right around here somewhere. Oh well, I guess maybe I'm lost. I hope I make it out of the jungle. All right, well, send me an email, and if I make it out of here, we'll get to talk about catamarans, okay? Smooth sailing.